Can you believe it? The sun right now is at 29 degrees of Scorpio. Hello there, Enchanted One, and welcome to Spirit Throw Me a Bone, your spiritual lifestyle channel, where every week we come together to cultivate our connection with the Enchanted Universe and coax Spirit to throw us a bone. And you know how we do this? We do it in three ways. First, we create sacred space, and we signal our intention to receive gifts of enchantment from Spirit. Second, we flex our enchantment muscles and consult the oracles of astrology and the tarot. And third, we welcome young self. And with a beginner's mind, we explore all manner of metaphysical and consciousness-raising topics. I'm Brenda Paradiso, and I help folks just like you discover magic and meaning in daily life. And so tonight, we are talking about the last breath of Scorpio season. So we're going to take a look back at what the gifts of Scorpio season have brought us. We're going to do a little bit of reflection. I'll share some of my personal experience of Scorpio season, and I'd love, as always, to hear from you. You know, we had some big astrology in November, and November's not over, but as you know, we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, it's been some pretty powerful astrology, including the eclipse that came through last Friday. So let's catch up with one another, right? That's what we do here on Spirit Throw Me a Bone. But the first thing we do, as always, is we create sacred space together. So if you haven't already, snuggle up next to your altar, maybe put a candle on that table right next to you, and just take a deep breath. It's Sunday night. It's your time. It's sacred time. Hey guys, just trying to get my music going. I don't know why it's not working. Hi Kathleen. Maybe we'll try something different here. Try some different music. There we go. Gotta have music when we create sacred space, right? Okay. Okay guys, here we are by the altar, and I'm gonna light some incense. I got a little bit of sage and some frankincense. So we're gonna get it going. Big chunk of frankincense right there. Woo! Alrighty then, here we go. So you know what we do. Okay, guys, so really let's think about this tonight. Let's not just go through the motions. I know you would never do that, but what are we doing here? We're creating sacred space. So we're creating an energetic container to enclose us in sacred space together, and we're going to do it by calling the directions or the four elements and visualizing a blue light, a circle around the physical space that you occupy right now, and then push that circle out to enclose us all together in virtual sacred space. So let's get started. By the air that is her breath, welcome east. By the fire of her bright spirit, welcome south. By the waters of her living womb, welcome west. And by the earth that is her body, welcome north. As above, so below, we are in sacred space. It helps to turn the mic on. Okay. Here we go. Now we're going to do some background music. Alrighty, guys. And welcome. Hello there, Kathleen. So how was your week, Kathleen? So the end of Scorpio season. So I mentioned in the little teaser at the intro that the sun is at 29 degrees of Scorpio tonight. And at 9:30, the sun moves on into Sagittarius, which of course you know is a sign after Scorpio. So that is a whole big different energy, isn't it? So instead of being in a watery Mars-ruled sign of Scorpio, we're moving into the Jupiter fiery sign of Sagittarius. So very different energies. But still, I think we need to honor the Scorpio season tonight and kind of look back at everything that it brought us, right? All the experiences that it brought us. And I'll share some personal stuff, and then I'm interested in how you guys did as well. What do we got going on here? Whew. I'm watching here my stream. I am online. I'm trying to monitor my stream here, and it's looking weird. So if it's weird, let me know, guys. Hey, everybody, can't hear you. Yeah, it was off for a second. Hey, everybody. So Kathleen says she is home from California and getting back in her groove. And Wendy's with us tonight. Yay, Wendy. And here is Anne. She said she couldn't hear me, but now she hears me. Yeah, I have my mic off for a little bit. And yeah, well, you know, lots of moving parts here when you're doing your own production and trying to, like, that's my excuse anyway, you know, trying to, you know, keep the show rolling and then operating all the all the bells and whistles too, but whatever. Some nights I do better than others, right guys? So what we were talking about was the end of Scorpio season, moving into Sagittarius. And I keep looking over here because I'm trying to monitor my stream over here. And it's not letting me monitor it on this computer. I hope that doesn't mean that you guys are having trouble with the quality. Let me just load it on this computer. See if it looks any different. No. It's being wacky. No, there we go. Yeah, it's loading on here. So, looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. There we go. All right, guys. So, seems okay on your end. Good. All right. All right, that's good. That's good. That's lovely. Lovely, lovely. So, end of Scorpio season, start of Sagittarius season. All right, well, let's go ahead and, hey, tell me about how this new moon, how this lunar eclipse worked out for you on Friday, right? Remember, this lunar eclipse was in Taurus, and we talked about it based on our rising signs, right? Kathleen and Anne, big lunar eclipse for you guys because you guys have Taurus rising. So I'm wondering, like, wow, has there been any event for you, something that really has triggered your impulses to let you be you? You know, was there something personal, anything, any events relative to your physical body, or just how, you know, you are making your mark in the world? That's the first house, of course. Be interested to know. And Wendy, you say your moon is in Taurus. Okay, it would be interesting to know what degree that is, Wendy. I've got that somewhere, I'm sure. But if it's around the, let's see, this lunar eclipse was at 27 Taurus. So, I don't know if I've got you on this computer or not. On my little phone app. That's where the quickest place for me to check people's charts. I can look really quickly. See if I got you here, Wendy. I don't have you on here. I thought for sure I might have you on my other computer. But yeah, so moon in Taurus. So if your moon is anywhere between, say, 24 and 29 of Taurus, then this eclipse should really be activating that Taurus moon of yours. So Kathleen says, well, I have been hobbled by arthritis and have a doctor's appointment Monday morning. There you go. Well, first and seventh house. So here's the thing about eclipses, particularly a full moon eclipse as opposed to new moon eclipse. You know, a full moon, we've got both ends of the polarity activated. So meaning that, okay, so it's a full moon eclipse, Kathleen and Anne, in your first house. That means the moon is in your first house. And then by definition, the polarity of that, the opposition with that is the seventh house and Scorpio. So really, both houses are activated. One would expect that it would tend to be a little bit more first house oriented, but it can also definitely, because it's on that axis, trigger events related to relationship and partnership. So, maybe you recognize the eclipse bringing forward those type of events or situations for you having to do with seventh house partnership type things. So let us know. Anne says, I had some strong connections with the galactic beings, lots of spirit activity as well. It was a busy week. Busy week. A lot of energy, around the time of the full moon, particularly if, like an eclipse, because what is an eclipse if it's not like a super duper lunar event, right? Whether it's a new moon eclipse or a full moon eclipse, it's just a bigger deal when it's an eclipse versus just a new moon or a full moon. So, I'm going to do a little astrology dance while I try to pull up on here some of these charts for you, okay? So, let's check it out. All right, there it is. Okay, there it is, guys. So this was the full moon that came through on Friday, and we talked about this, but we can revisit it really quickly. And just as a reminder of why it was such a big deal. And let us see here. There we go. There I am. Okay, so here's this chart up here, and this is the full moon, November 18th, and so this particular one, let me try do this again, hold on. There we go. Was with the sun at 27 Scorpio opposing the moon, like I said, 27 Taurus. Okay, but the story of this full moon was what? What did we talk about? Remember how Uranus was opposing Mars? Okay, and really Uranus has been the story of the month of November, because Uranus was very involved at the new moon as well. I think the new moon was right on Uranus, conjunct Uranus at the new moon. Okay, and then he just was rolling with all kinds of transits, and then ending out the month, or not the month, but ending out the first half of the lunar cycle with this full moon in square to Mars. So what do we know about Uranus? Uranus is about revolution and change and disruption of all kinds, enlightenment even, and Mars and Uranus together is really powerful because Mars wants to march forward. Mars being the god of war can be, conflict oriented, and Uranus, is one of the big three outer planets, who definitely has his own big time energies. I gotta plug my computer in, or we're gonna run out of my computer here. Hold on. I thought I did that before. Here it is. Okay. That might have been why I was having trouble with that restream program on that computer, because it wasn't plugged in. Okay. So, Wendy, you have Aquarius rising, right? So let's look at Aquarius rising. We've talked about these energies with everybody else. There we go. So, Wendy, for you, this full moon is 4th, 10th house action. So that's pretty big too. A full moon eclipse in these angular houses for you, the 4th and the 10th. Actually, this moon is down here in Taurus. It looks like it's, I moved the wheel around a little bit, but know that the sun was at 27, so that means the moon at the full moon was at 27 Taurus. So that's your 4th and 10th house. So this eclipse should be big for you too, affecting home, the 4th house, as well as career and what you're doing in the outer world. Wondering, Wendy, if there's been anything going on at work, any changes or surprises at work. Has there been any unexpected maybe tension or conflict, or are you starting any kind of new projects there that are really very forward thinking? Are you coming up against authority figures maybe? Would be interested to know that. And then yeah, so that means you have the moon in your fourth house natally, too. So yeah, so this is a big eclipse for you. And so guys, what do we know about eclipses generally? The eclipse energies, they stay with us, you know, from one new moon eclipse to the next new moon eclipse, from one full moon eclipse to the next full moon eclipse. So it's not like, you know, it's like a one and done, you know, just a couple days of these energies. Yeah, they're bigger and you're more likely to see the events right around the eclipse, you know, give or take 3 or 4 days either side. But they do color, you know, the months between the eclipses, right? So now we're going to have another new moon eclipse on December 4th, but that's going to be a new moon eclipse, not a full moon eclipse. So, but we don't have another full moon eclipse until next year. So, you know, we're with these energies for a while. So think about that, Wendy, for example, you know, that your 4th and 10th houses are highlighted, particularly your 4th house down there with the moon, you know, where the moon lives natally. So I would think that it could be significant for you around those topics. Now, here's something else I want to say about these eclipses, guys, is that the last time that there was a full moon eclipse at this degree of Taurus, okay, was 18 years ago. So think about that. What were the themes going on 18 years ago that might be very similar to the themes that you're experiencing now with this eclipse? Right? So, for example, okay, this eclipse with Libra rising, this eclipse is was in my 2nd house, which is, you know, resources, money, that kind of thing. 2nd house, it's on the 2nd, 8th house axis. So 2nd house, my money, my resources, what I produce. 8th house, joint resources, money that comes from other sources other than me, like inheritances, or, you know, money just from like your partner's resources or something like that. So that's interesting because 18 years ago, what was going on 18 years ago for me? So 18 years ago, that was around the months where I was moving into my home that I just moved out of this summer, right? We were moving into our home in Great Falls. It was also around that time where I started working for my husband's firm, you know, basically as like the law office administrator. I'd always kind of worked for them, helping them out here and there, but I really went in as a permanent like job, you know, back then, because I remember it was like right around the time that we moved into the house in Great Falls. So that's, you know, money, 2nd house, and actually partners' money and partners' resources, you know, like working for my husband's business, working for the family business. So, you know, there that theme is repeating. So think, guys, what was going on with you around, you know, summer of, I guess it would be 2003, right? What was going on around that time? And look for common themes, right, Wendy? So what was going on for you, Wendy, because I'm using you as an example here, this eclipse, you know, striking in your 4th house, but also activating your 10th house, you know, 4th house, home, roots, real estate, right, father, 10th house being career or what you do out in the world. Okay. And then also 9 years ago, there would have been similar themes 9 years ago, only it would have been a little bit slightly different, but 9 years ago, the eclipses involve what we call the nodes of the moon, and I need to study it a little bit more and refresh my knowledge of it before I can explain the astronomy behind the nodes of the moon. But the nodes of the moons are always involved at the time of the eclipse, because the nodes of the moon are very close, like you can see up here. See how the south node is very close by degree to the sun, right? And the closer the nodes are to the lights, sun is a light, moon is a light, at the eclipse, the stronger the eclipse is. But in any case, 18 years ago, the nodes of the moon, the south node was very close, if not at this degree, same degree, probably, that it is now. But 9 years ago, it was a north node that was up here at this degree. So they were just switched. But that's why 9 years ago, too, you'll see similar themes. What was going on 9 years ago that would have activated these two houses for you, Wendy? So okay. So hey Dee, how are ya? Dee is with us, guys. Glad to see you. Okay, so you have moon at 17 Taurus. Okay, so that's a good 10 degrees away. So that's technically really out of the orb of being like a direct hit. I think it's really interesting, Wendy, that your moon is at 17 Taurus. My Venus is at 17 Taurus. So no wonder we are such good friends. We are simpatica, right? Oh, and there's Janet. Hello, my beautiful Janet. So Janet has Capricorn rising. Let's take a look at that just by way of an example here. So what do you know, but the sun and the moon are occupying 10th, 5th, and 11th houses. And remember talking about this week how the 5th house is like creativity and children and, you know, what you do to seek pleasure. And then the 11th house, its opposite house, is groups, organizations, friends, that type of thing. So, you know, when these houses are activated by the eclipse, you know, these topics are lit up, right? And the new moon actually would have been in the 11th house, right? And now the full moon is in the 5th house. But generally, this entire axis, 5th and 11th house, has been activated throughout the month of November from the new moon, when the new moon was all conjunct in the sky with that disruptive Uranus, right? All the way through to this full moon, right? When Uranus again is a big part of the picture, squaring Mars. So Janet, if there's anything you want to share with us about your experience of this eclipse, or just a month of November in general, where your 11th house of organization, friends, groups, has been highlighted, and or your 5th house of children, and creative endeavors and what you do for fun and pleasure. Okay. All right. So I see we're talking about Anne's very cool and exciting experience, and Kathleen's, and yeah. Okay. So all right, guys, you know what? I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on to the tarot. Do you guys want to? Do you guys feel like you need me to go back through what houses were activated? Do you remember from last week by this full moon this past Friday? Do you want me to do that, or do you want to just go ahead and go to the tarot? Because I have lots of thoughts about the tarot card that we pulled last week, and just tarot cards that I've pulled generally over the last couple days. So if you really want to stay on the astrology, we can. But I was thinking we'd move on to the tarot. But the month in general, guys. The month in general has been pretty intense, I think, with all this Mars Uranus going on. Do you guys agree? We don't need two of me. Here we go. I think it's been pretty intense. I do. Mars Uranus, shaking things up. Oh, Friday is Dee's birthday. We need to wish her a happy birthday, guys. I think we do. I thought I might have had. Happy birthday, Dee, sweetie. Happy birthday, dear Dee. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dee. Oh gosh, we just have too much fun here. You're awesome. Okay. Alrighty. So I didn't get any answer. Oh, so Janet says, yeah, it's been a roller coaster month. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It has. And I will tell you that I've been, I've observed, I mean, I personally, I've, with the full moon eclipse, and the new moon eclipse, you know, affecting my 2nd and 8th house that have to do with resources, my, you know, self-generated income, income generated by others or partners' resources or shared resources. I mean, definitely I see the eclipse energies and the Enchanted Universe, you know, definitely activating my 2nd and 8th house. You know, my husband and I have been working with, you know, our financial advisor, you know, to get some things, you know, in order regarding our retirement funds and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, the topic has been very active, for me personally. And, but I tell you what has really, I think the Enchanted Universe has been speaking to me more so this month through the cards, through the tarot. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit and remind you, what we pulled last week. Who remembers the card that we pulled last week? You want to put it in the chat? Who's going to guess? Who's going to remember? I'm giving you a minute. 2 of Swords. You got it, Janet. 2 of Swords. Remember, we pulled the 2 of Swords last week, so let's take a look at her. There she is. So here's the interesting thing. You know, we get 2 pretty different interpretations. One from Barbara Moore's Steampunk Tarot. That's the cute lady with the short little skirt there. And then I love T. Susan Chang. She's probably just about my favorite tarot expert these days. And I like Barbara Moore's interpretations as well. They tend to be a little bit more succinct and sort of more accessible. Susie Chang, she's brilliant. She's like an esoteric scholar on the tarot and the Kabbalah and astrology, and just, I don't know how this woman has all this information in her brain, but she's really awesome. But so I like to look at what she has to say about the cards too. But so Barbara Moore says a conflict between heart and mind. Okay, 2 of Swords, a conflict between heart and mind, and That's really very close to sort of what I first learned about that card, the Two of Swords. Like, to me, when you look at the image of the Rider-Waite lady, you know, the traditional Rider-Waite deck, where, you know, she's wearing the long white robe and she's got her arms crossed, and you know, with the blindfold and whatnot. I mean, to me, like, I read, you know, you can read the tarot, and many people do, and certainly, you know, the archetype speaks in this way too. You know, like, what do you see when you look at the card? You know, like, what do you think is going on with that lady? To me, I feel like the lady's like, I don't really want to know. I don't really want to see. Do I have to? Do I have to? Right? That's kind of how I've always connected to the Two of Swords, right? And that's pretty consistent with what Barbara Moore was saying, like a conflict between the heart and the mind. Like, maybe, you know, your mind is telling you one thing, but your heart is telling you another. Or there's something that you want to do, but you know deep down inside, like, I really can't do that, or I really should do something different. Or there's just like some realization that you know is there, but you keep pushing it away. That's kind of how I've always thought about the Two of Swords, which again is more consistent with what Barbara Moore says about it. But now Susie Chang says more like, okay, this lady, this Two of Swords lady, she's in this posture with this blindfold and the swords crossed in a more of a meditative stance, right? And that speaks to the water in the background and all that kind of stuff, and the moon up over her head, and, you know, she's got a blindfold on, like, you know, like when you're doing plant medicines, you put your blindfold on so you see visions and nothing else. You know, being a meditative kind of endeavor, like, you know, when you're journeying. But so that's very different, isn't it? And so she says, turn to whatever meditative practice allows you to clear your mind and listen to silence. So, you know, I mean, I guess you could say that they're not two diametrically opposed interpretations, but they're very different to me, I think. So the Two of Swords has shown up a lot for me, guys. I pulled the Two of Swords on Sunday morning last week, okay? And then I also pulled the Two of Swords on Spirit Throw Me a Bone, right? And then on Tuesday, I pulled the Two of Swords again. You think they do? You think you see the commonality between the two interpretations? Yeah. Thank you, Wendy. So anyway, and the Two of Swords is the card for the decan that is my moon. My moon is at 4 Libra, and the decan 4 Libra is the first. The Two of Swords is the first decan of Libra, which is something else that I need to teach you about. It has to do with the correspondence of astrology and the tarot, and that the tarot astrology is arranged in decans. Like, there's 3 decans in every sign, for example. So there's a first, second, and third decan of Libra. The first 10 degrees, the second 10 degrees, and the third 10 degrees. And each of these decans correspond to one of the minor arcana. So the first decan of Libra, my moon is at 4 Libra, corresponds to this card, Two of Swords. So I get her a lot. So I wanted to show you, do I have it here? I don't think I loaded it, but maybe I have it. Let me just look. Yeah. All right, let me show you here. See if I can do this. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Maybe I'll show it to you from my phone here. I wanted to show you, I pull 2 cards every morning. No. Well, anyhow, shoot. Do I want to spend the time to... What I wanted to say is that I pulled the Two of Swords and the Eight of Cups together. First the Two of Swords, then the Eight of Cups, twice. I pulled it last Sunday, and then I also pulled it Tuesday. So isn't that weird? So yeah, the Two of Swords has been talking to me, guys. Okay, so here's Wendy's interpretation of the commonality between the Two of Swords interpretations here. So she says, yeah, you move the mind aside to listen to the heart, thereby resolving the conflict. I love that. That's beautiful, Wendy. Thank you so much. That does make complete sense. And yeah, it's just, we could say that Susie Chang is talking about maybe the more conscious application of the Two of Sword archetype, right? So like, you know, you reach that meditative space, or you really tap into deep self, and you're, quote, more conscious, and you're able to resolve the conflict. Thank you very much, Wendy. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you about the Two of Swords. So, and so for me, the way she's shown up is I started this past week really committing to, for about the 80th time, a meditation practice. And so right now I'm working with Joe Dispenza's work and his meditations. I downloaded a couple of his meditations, one for the morning, one for the night. And so, and the first day that I was doing it was I guess last Sunday, right? And, you know, so there she is meditating. And the Eight of Cups is all about just walking, you know, walking beyond the past, right? And so Joe Dispenza's whole philosophy and his meditations are centered around, you know, not being held back by the memories and the emotions of the past, and that you want to create a beautiful vision for the future. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to let go of the emotions of the past. That's like how you say, that's how you continue to suffer, right? If you stay with the past. So if any of you guys are familiar with Joe Dispenza and his work, let me know in the chat. So yeah, so the Two of Swords, meditation, the Eight of Cups, moving past, you know, your experiences of the past came up quite literally. The archetype showed up quite literally for me. And what else, guys? I wanted to then also tell you about, I don't know why I can't get my Spotify to play. Maybe I need to turn it up. That was it. That was what my Spotify problem was. It was turned way down. There we go. All right, some different background music. Okay, so here's the other thing that I pulled up. That my other tarot cards that I pulled. Where do I have that? Let me show you. I'm pulling it up now because I want to show you and talk about how this came up for me. There we go. So this morning I pulled the Hangman and the Queen of Wands. How about that? All right, so what is the Hangman doing? The Hangman is hanging upside down. That's what the Hangman is doing. Go figure. So what did I do this morning? Okay, I did a yoga class this morning. So I was like a pretzel in all these different ways, right? So like when I think about the hangman and the image of the hangman, which I pulled this morning, I think about yoga class, right? But other than what it looks like literally, what the literal interpretation is of the archetype, it's also like surrender, right? Live and let God, right? So I pull the hangman, and then in the same throw, I pull the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is very different than the hangman. The hangman is like, oh gosh, surrender, live and let God. You can't really go forward and be all fiery like the Queen of Wands. You got to just chill and, wait to become enlightened, right? Or you just have to surrender, right? And then the Queen of Wands is very different. She's a fiery woman. She's like really creative. She's like, she's like on her throne, and she has a lot of dominion over the use of her will and just making things happen, right? So how different can these two cards be, right? So I'm in yoga class this morning, and guys, I've never done very much yoga in my life at all. Like, I've been athletic, like I played tennis for many years, and I've always been athletic when I was younger, and so it's not like I didn't do physical activity, but I didn't do yoga. And except for a few months a couple years ago, which is this whole story, but I'm just not getting back to yoga, and when you're like almost 60 years old, you're like, okay, yoga's probably a good idea, right? But every time, guys, I go to a yoga class, I look around, and I have to, because I am that Queen of Wands. Like, I really connect with the Queen of Wands. I'm very competitive. I'm like way too competitive for my own good. And but when I go to yoga class, it's very humbling, guys. And especially, like, I have not been exercising for like the last, oh my God, certainly since the summer. I'm not even really walking or doing anything, because of the move and everything this summer, and I've just not been taking care of my body. So I go into this yoga class like very humble, and I look around, and I did a yoga class earlier in the week too, like on Tuesday. I did one on Tuesday, and then I did one this morning, and it's really pushes me to like, surrender and just be like, Brenda, it is what it is. Like, you're not going to compete against these skinny pretzels, because you're like, just forget it, And so I had to really like force myself, like, not to be hard on myself about like, oh my God, I'm terrible at this, and I shouldn't. Anyway, I had to just surrender, and it's not an easy thing for me to do because I have a certain amount of ego when it comes to certain things. The Queen of Wands doesn't like to be, doesn't like not to be one of the best in the class if it has something to do with, something approaching athleticism. So to me, that's sort of like the story of the cards that I pulled this morning. Like, I just have to surrender. It is what it is, and I have to like not care about these things and be patient with myself and just allow myself to have the experience of moving my body in yoga class, and know that if I just keep doing it, I'll get stronger and more flexible, and then I won't feel so bad. Oh, so Teresa has been doing Dispensa's meditations. I'd love to talk to her about that. Yeah, for about a year now. Good for her. I would really love to talk to her about that. What did I do here with the music? Okay, so we're back to, I think I was playing both musics at the same time. That was really annoying. So you guys, you want to pull some cards? Where did my deck go? It was right here. Here it is. Let's just pull a card. I wanted to share with you my experience of the cards. And here in like 35 minutes, we're going to be in Sagittarius season, guys. So, say goodbye to Scorpio season. Thank the watery expression of Mars in Scorpio for all that it has brought us. The good, the bad, and the ugly this month. And we will look forward to the December 4th new moon eclipse in Sagittarius, of course, because the sun will be in Sagittarius, so that means that the new moon will be in Sagittarius. That's my 3rd and my 9th house. Yours too, Robin. And maybe we'll talk about that next week. So I'm shuffling the cards, guys. And let's just do... What is next Sunday? Is next Sunday Carmen Cocktails already? It is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because it's the 28th. So next Sunday is going to be Carmen Cocktails. And who remembers what card we pulled for Carmen Cocktails? I think we pulled the 8 of Pentacles, didn't we? So, yeah, we can't forget about that. We'll pull a new card next week on Carmen Cocktails. But the 8 of Pentacles was the guy who was working a lot. Wonder if I can find that. Eight Pentacles. I just saw it. I saw that file recently. Let me find it here. I want to show you so we can revisit that, because that card too was one of our cards for the month. Where'd it go? 8 Pentacles meaning. There we go. There, remember this, guys? Yeah. This is what we pulled for the whole month. Been a hard-working month. And next week we'll probably pull a new card. Well, actually, we'll do our regular Steampunk Tarot reading probably next week. Remember, last month was Halloween and I was not I was not up for a reading. We got kind of sidetracked, so we just pulled one card, but it was the 8 of Pentacles. And I'll tell you what, I'll get back here. Yeah. It's been was a hard-working month for me this past month. Working on my craft in a big way. I got a little distracted with my priorities, but that's not anything new for me. All right, guys, we're pulling one card. One card, guys. One card to get us through the week. To get us through the week, guys. And I'm going to pull from the full deck. And let me get back here. Okay, everybody thinking? Everybody thinking together here. Robin, I'd love to talk to Teresa about what she's getting out of Dispenza's work and in those meditations, and if she's done any other stuff with him. He's very popular these days. It's all about the neurobiology. How do you say it? Neuropsychology, right? And the science of meditation. Okay. We're pulling a card. Just one card, guys. King of Cups. Here we go. King of Cups. He's our card. Alrighty. King of Cups. Well, you know, the cups is all watery, right? Sort of the realm of emotions in the tarot. Let's see what Barbara Moore says about the King of Cups. I don't have my charger thingy. Here it is. Hold on. Here we go. Let's see if I can plug in my iPhone real quick. King of Cups. Who can tell me a little bit about King of Cups? Anybody want to give me a keyword for the King of Cups while I get us hooked up here? All right, let's see what Barbara Moore says about the King of Cups. Okay. Cups. Okay. Cups, and then the king. Gonna be all the way down here. There he is. Doesn't he look regal? King of Cups. And what does she have for the meaning? Someone who is driven by emotion, art, and relationships. Relationships and art of all types create ties and bonds of emotions that circle his heart, and he is driven like no other king by his heart. The tapestry is so complex that if you tug one thread, you would be hard-pressed to determine what else will be affected. In this way, he appears more unpredictable and inscrutable than the other kings. If you want to understand the King of Cups, you must follow the tangled maze of relationships and emotional responses to his core. There you will find all his values, and there you will learn how to relate to him. So, core meaning, someone who is driven by emotion, art, and relationship. Okay, so let's keep our eye out for the King of Cups over the next week. What do you say, guys? The King of Cups. Put him back on the screen. No. There he is. King of Cups. Alrighty guys, so it's about that time to finish up. So, you know, we talked a little bit about the full moon and how we're saying goodbye to Scorpio season and how Uranus really was shaking things up all month long. Uranus and Mars together, particularly at this full moon eclipse. We talked about eclipses as, you know, super duper. Full and new moons. We talked about how we can look back 18 years ago and look for similar themes, because then the nodes of the moon were at the same degree or the same placement that they are now. And so, you know, they're, as I said, involved in these eclipses. So that's how we learn from astrology. You know, everything is cyclical. And so, you know, when these transits come along or these astrological events come along, and we can learn from looking back at the last time the Enchanted Universe was serving up those same energies. Okay, so think about 18 years ago, what was going on, and how does it relate possibly to what's going on now, even 9 years ago, but I would say more so 18 years ago. See the common themes, and then it'll help you know what to expect over this next few months, where we're rolling with these energies of this big time lunar eclipse at 27 Taurus. So goodbye Taurus season. I mean, goodbye Scorpio season. We're welcoming Sagittarius in. And yeah, so, and happy birthday again to our lovely Miss D, our Sagittarius Miss D with Virgo rising, as I recall. So, okay guys, you know what time it is. It's time to go ahead and open up the circle, right? So let's do that. We're not ready there yet. I don't know what happened to the music I wanted to use, but oh, I know what it is. Here we go. Let's try this. Oh, before we do, I just want to remind you guys all to, if you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube and on Facebook, and hit that bell so you get notifications of when we go live. And give us a like on both YouTube and Facebook, please. A thumbs up. You'll find us on Facebook at STMB. And hit that like button. Oh, y'all, please. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight, too. All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and open the circle. What do you say? Alright, so this is how we do it. We go counterclockwise now. And we're opening the circle, releasing the energies, and thanking all the four directions for helping us hold space tonight, okay? By the earth that is her body, thank you, north. By the waters of her living womb, thank you, west. By the fire of her bright spirit, thank you, south. By the air that is her breath, thank you, east. As above, so below. Circle is open. Thank you again, guys. I really, really appreciate you joining me tonight. And I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful week. Don't forget, our card is the King of Cups. So look out for that passionate, emotional, artistic king. See where he shows up for you. In the meantime, we'll see you next week for Karma and Cocktails. Same enchanted time, same enchanted channel. Don't forget to join us then. Until then, be well, be true, be sacred, be you. Good night, everybody.